Okay, we are live. Live. Good evening, everybody. And then when you watch this later, morning, afternoon, whatever. Okay, guys. I am with Ben Maxwell and Brad Hanson. We are broadcasting from our homes, and we're trying this live for the first time. Hopefully, you're watching, and we have zero people so far, but that's fine. They'll watch it later when it's recorded. So, guys, we're here. We kind of just want to get going and start talking about. Let's talk about first about the Nebraska Northwestern game. What you guys' personal takeaways were from it. I know that I took away from the Nebraska um, Northwestern game that both quarterbacks are fairly good, throwing over 300 yards apiece. Although the Nebraska quarterback kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. Um, and I just took it back that Northwestern kind of, after a while, started to look more like an Iowa team with running the ball in the fourth quarter. But they were playing the Iowa game. We got a lead. Let's pound the ball, even if we have to give the ball back to Nebraska, and we'll just let our defense take over. That certainly looked like Iowa style football from Northwestern. I know a lot of people are happy that Nebraska lost that game, but what do you guys think it means in terms of the Big Ten West? Does Northwestern put themselves as a contender, or is these two teams at the bottom of the barrel just look really good because they were playing each other? Give me your opinion. I don't care who. Ben, why don't you go first?
Well, I think Northwestern was a lot better than I expected. That quarterback was pretty legit. I think they beat Nebraska on the line, both offense and defense. And we'll come back to the onside kick, the obvious nonsense later. But otherwise, that was last week, Dean, when we did our deal, I picked Nebraska because I didn't think Northwestern was very good, but, shame on me because Pat Fitzgerald is, in those situations, and kind of like Iowa has been the odd year team, 2015, 2021, our 2009, our years, 2018, 2020, Northwestern won the Big Ten West. And so I think the evil Fitzgerald, if you will, is got another good team here, and I think he had them ready to go. And to your point, they got that lead, and they did grind the ball out, and they did run the ball, and they took care of it, and they seized that momentum when Nebraska coughed it up. And so, do I think Nebraska? Once again, I'll echo my sentiments of last time. Do I think Nebraska has talent? I do. I think Casey Thompson's a good player, no doubt about it. His receivers didn't do him any favors, obviously, but I do think Northwestern is markedly better, as do I think Illinois is, and we'll come back to that, obviously. But yeah, I think the West is going to be a dogfight. So, Brad?
No, I have to totally agree. I think in particular where Northwestern's good is up front offensively. So that offensive line sort of imposed its will in the second half, and typical Fitzy. I mean, he just pounds it at you 12 times in a row, and he doesn't really care if you think you should throw the ball on 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10. He'll settle for a field goal and score and just keep pounding it at you. I think he had a game plan and he stuck to it, and we Iowa fans certainly have been on the receiving end of that. So, as far as bad losses, if you looked at last year, that on paper looks like a bad loss, and it's a 56-point turnaround from year to year but candidly, I didn't think they were 49 or 48 points better than Northwestern last year, they being Nebraska. That was a pretty even game. A couple plays here and there, like in every game, especially every one score game. You can look at about five or six plays that during the course of the game, it really set the tone and sort of determined the outcome. And, Fitzpatrick's, I mean, first of all, why would you schedule a game in Ireland against a team coached by a guy named Fitzgerald? Why would you do that? I mean, you had to know something was going to happen, right? So, I think I called him Fitzpatrick earlier. Maybe I was thinking about an Iowa City bar or two, but Fitzgerald, I mean, he's just really good. If you leave him in a ball game, he'll figure out a way to make you pay for it. So, and that offensive line's good.
Yeah. I mean, that offensive line looked really good. It is an even year, guys. And the announcers have been, for several weeks now, I've been talking about Northwestern and even years. So we'll see what gives along as the season goes on. We'll see if this is just a fluke or if this team is really that good. I still think Nebraska showed some flashes and some signs. I think they just stubbed themselves in the foot, especially when they decided to go for the onside kick, because what are you thinking up 11 points at the end of the third quarter, toward the end of the third quarter? You're going for the kill. I know you were going for the kill, but still you're up by 11 points. You don't trust your defense enough to I don't know.
So the answer is no, they do not trust their defense enough because their defense is shitty, frankly. Number one. Number two, that's exactly right. And I went back and, the Big Ten shows a condensed version on the Big Show or whatever. And I went back and watched that 60-minute version. And I saw that again. And those possessions before that were touchdown, I think turnover on downs, interception, touchdown. So Nebraska is rolling and maybe not necessarily in that order, but those are the plays that happen. So Nebraska is rolling now with 4 consecutive series of momentum, just like stranglehold in Northwestern. And Northwestern, I think, is a good team, but they're like Iowa. The Hawks, they're not going to come back from a 3-score game probably most days, right?
Right.
And Northwestern wasn't going to either. And so I think that the Northwestern defense was poor, but B, I mean, talk about, and I go back to my comments last week. I mean, I just think that smacks of Scott Frost arrogance. Everybody in the goddamn country knew you shouldn't onside kick there. I mean, women that know nothing against women, but they know nothing about football knew you should not onside kick there because it's momentum. And then they just gave it to them. And I told all my Nebraska buddies, I mean, that's the difference between Scott Frost and Kirk Ferentz. Kirk would have kicked it away. And then, Kirk was going to, with 11-point lead, he was going to run the ball. He was going to punt the ball. Maybe we pick up a field goal somewhere in there and he's going to trust his defense. And a 3-score lead for Iowa, I'll take that. I'll take that every day, baby. And so,
See, I actually have a slightly different view of it. I actually, it wasn't the right call. I mean, it was a dumb call. Okay, fair enough. But okay, so Northwestern gets the ball on the 45 going in. It's not like you kicked an onside kick and they ran it back to the 2. All right. I mean, at some point, players got to play, and so coach makes a call. You go out there and you back your coach up, and I'm sure now. So I'm going to back up even further. So when I told my wife I was going to do a podcast and we're going to talk about Nebraska and we're going to talk about Iowa, she was like, "Well, are you an Iowa fan or you just don't like Nebraska? Are you going to beat up Nebraska?" So I'm going to try not to beat up Nebraska, though.
It's tough.
It's tough, and I'm predisposed after years of suffering through Nebraska media off seasons, which Nebraska has never lost a game in the off season. They've been, for as long as I've been alive, they've been undefeated in the off season. They always win the off season. So, but I'm going to try to be fair. Okay, Frost makes a bad call. Brian Ferentz and Kirk Ferentz will make about 20 bad calls in any given game that I'll sit there and disagree with. Fitzy called 2 third and 10 runs and as they're rolling on offense. I mean, those are, to me, horrible calls. He knows his team better than me. So who are we to say? So Frost makes a bad call. All right, defense, go out there and make a play. I mean, where they lost the game was in the trenches on the defensive line when Northwestern pounds the ball 12 plays in a row. They know exactly where it's coming, and they can't stop it. I mean, that to me is more important, candidly, than an onside kick. Now, I think the onside kick was a bad call. I mean, that's like Iowa calling the bubble screen on their own 10. I mean, I'll lose my mind, but it's not beyond their own possibility to do it. Players got to step up and play once you make a call. So, I think Frost's fate is sealed, but I don't think it was because of an onside kick.
Okay. Well, this is the way I saw Frost in Nebraska this year. I actually had them in when we went over our preseason stuff with 7 wins. So this takes away a win because this was one of the wins I gave him. So now, in my eyes, he's down to 6 wins if he doesn't screw it up anymore. Does that 6-6 save his job, or does he even make it to the end of the season?
Go ahead, Brad.
Oh, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
No, I just gonna say I don't think he makes it past. I think he gets fired the day after Indiana, no matter what. The October 1, his buyout reduces $7.5 million from 15. I think they're just cost saving at this point. I mean, let's be honest. If they beat North Dakota and Georgia Southern, which I think they probably will, it's a pipe dream to think that they're going to beat Oklahoma, even in Memorial Stadium. And I think Indiana beats them, honestly. So I think it's kind of like it's almost going to be like that when Pelini got canned after they beat Iowa, and they had to say something to the effect of, or whatever who was the AD at that point, whatever his name was, we had to judge where Iowa was or whatever. I think Scott Frost gets fired on October 2nd, that Sunday. He doesn't have a job. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Trev will do that if Trev feels like there's a candidate that he's got his eyes on that's not currently working. I don't know who that'd be. I might get if you put a gun to my head and said, "Tell me who you think is going to be coaching Nebraska next year," it'll be my top 2 or 3 guesses would be people that are actually coaching this year. And so, getting rid of him early after 10-1, assuming there's nothing nefarious going on in the team. He hasn't lost the team, and there's some bad behavior and some people getting in trouble. I don't know what that gets him. But having said that, Trev there's no doubt in my mind he's not afraid of a hard decision, and he doesn't back away from it. I mean, his time at UNO speaks to that, and Trev I'm sure Trev's got a vision. I actually think Trev is going to be very good in that role. And he understands very clearly that job number 1 is to make sure the football team is sound. I think, candidly, I think even before this season, I think Coach Frost's fate was sealed. I think that's a bad fit between AD and coach. I think there's just enough problems that were identified. I just think he held it off a year because he could save the university 13 million or 13.5 or whatever it was. I mean, frankly, Trev's negotiation on that was genius. So it sort of looked like he gave Frost another year, but I really don't think he had another year. That's I don't have inside information on that, but I just think it's a bad fit between AD and coach.
Yeah. There was an interesting article on ESPN. I don't know if you guys read it on ESPN Insider. It broke down the 10 games of the demise of Nebraska football, starting back in Solich's era, and it's pretty interesting. Go dial it up and read it because it has been pretty methodical how they've just fallen apart with constant change, and not only constant change, but diametrically opposed styles, personalities, offenses, player personnel, and it just I mean, Kirk's had his crappy years. We know that, 2006, 2012, bad years. But, we stuck with the program and look where we're at now, 10-win season. So,
Ben, you're a big baseball fan. What's your favorite baseball movie? If you had to pick one.
Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams,
really good one. My favorite is Bull Durham. All right.
Bull Durham, yeah.
Bull Durham's a great movie, and when I think of Scott Frost and Trev Alberts, I think of Kevin Costner sitting in the locker room when Newt comes rolling in after a long night with Annie, and he lays on the bench and he asks Costner a question, and he says, "Crash," and I even forget the question. Crash lifts up, and he's got his shower shoes. He's like, "There's fungus on your shower shoes." You can't, if you win 20 games in the show, they'll think you're colorful. Until then, you're a slob. I mean, I can just see, at the press conference, you see Trev all, he's decked out. He's got a suit on. He looks great, looks the part. And his CEO of his top program is sitting over there in a, camouflage hat and a lot of chew in his mouth. And I'm thinking, that doesn't look like it fits. If he wants to dress like Belichick, you better win a few Super Bowls like Belichick. I mean, then it's colorful, right? I think it's a bad fit. And to Ben's point, the change in last week I think Ben talked about that the offense. Originally the Scott Frost offense, this sort of Oregon style, and work when the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour out of 10 different directions in the horseshoe, and it's 10 degrees outside. Man, that you better be tough up front. I was worried to death that they had hired Bielema back before they hired Mike Riley. Because I thought Bielema's style offense, that big bruising lineman, feels like the 1980s in Nebraska in the 1990s, where they'd point and say, "We're going to run in that hole, and we're pretty sure you can't do anything about it." So I just, until they get somebody that puts the focus on the lines, I don't see it.
Yeah, I think Brent Bielema could bring Nebraska back, but right now that's his job with Illinois, and it won't be too much longer where Illinois will start looking like Wisconsin. Yeah. Although in their game this week, they threw the ball more than I suspected that they would. That they would. Yeah. I thought they'd be more pound and ground, but they didn't.
Dean, one more point, which ironic, just to point out the irony of this is that this Scott Frost finally hires a special teams coach, right?
Right.
And they get him in there, and everyone's been busting his balls to get a special teams coach. He doesn't. Again, the arrogance. Then he gets one, and then they lose it on special teams. Like it was perfect.
Not through a player problem, but through a coach's decision.
I agree.
I mean,
right?
Oh my God. A lot of theories on that. And boy, the fun part, Dean, about living in Omaha when the train is off the tracks here. With Nebraska football, I mean the media, they just can't. They're sort of incredulous. They can't believe that their God-given right to national championship seasons is yet paused for another year, and people are throwing in the towels. It's just, I mean, as irrational as they are in the offseason, they're equally irrational when it comes to throwing in the towel. Like, I mean, I read an article about them hiring Urban Meyer. I'm like, really, Urban Meyer? Yeah, right.
Okay.
I think the most logical choice to real quick, and I know you want to segue, Dean, but honestly, go get Luke Fickell. I think that if they're smart, they go get Luke Fickell, or maybe try to get Matt Campbell.
Yep, those are the two names. Mark Stoops would be the third one I'd throw in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think Matt Campbell's going anywhere from Iowa State. I think he's happy there, and we'll see what happens there.
That's a subject of a whole separate show we could talk about.
That will be next week's show. Okay. Let's. I want to move on, but first, before I do, you guys will notice that I was playing with this thing while you guys were talking, and I'm so glad that you guys could carry a conversation without my help. You guys did very well, and this gave me a chance to put this banner up for Terry Sensies, who sponsors our show. And so I just put up her website, and I just tell people if you want to go ahead and go check out her stuff. She's got a lot of cool stuff, including some football warmers. That's from the 49ers. I'm actually a Viking fan, but fallen in love with the 49ers because of Kittle. Out here in California. Of course, you get more 49er games on TV out here than you do Raiders or Rams and Chargers. Okay, I kind of wanted to segue into a little bit. Going to kind of change things up a little bit. The two deeps came up yesterday, and I kind of wanted to talk about that. Have you guys seen the two deeps at all, or know anything about them?
Yeah, apparently Kirk hasn't, but I think both Ben and I have.
That was awesome.
Yeah, well, he put out there Keegan Johnson is listed as the number one wide receiver, but then again in his news conference today, he sounded like there's a chance that he might not play. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Brad.
Well, I mean, I really hope he does play because I actually think he is one of the keys to this team. Both he and Arlen Bruce were sort of described as wise beyond their years or mature beyond their years, even last year's freshman. And he's a gifted athlete. I mean, I'm particularly fond of him because he's from Omaha, and so and plus the whole Nebraska thing, getting a legacy recruit over to Iowa City is a real treat. But and having said that, I don't know the young man, and I don't know his dad, but I've got a lot of friends who are friends of his dad who just can't speak more highly of him as a person, both dad and son. But So I really want him to play. And candidly, looking at hey, look, we've always had a walk-on wide receiver that just shocks you with how good they are. But we got 2 walk-ons that are on the depth chart right behind them. That worries me. I'm not overly optimistic about the passing game anyway. I'll believe we've arrived when I see we've arrived, but I'm hopeful. It just means to me all the more reason to believe in our tight ends.
Right. Yeah, I kind of predicted that. I think we're going to probably be a little tight end heavy this week, with a sprinkling of Arlen Bruce in there.
Yeah.
Well, and then Nico Regani's out too apparently for a couple weeks. So now
he is
arguably your top 2 wideouts if Keegan don't play. So
yeah, when you think about,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dean.
No, I was going to say when you think about it, if Charlie Jones and Tyrone Tracy hadn't left the program, they'd be getting a lot of throws this week, and they left because they wanted more targets. That's what I want to say.
Well, Charlie
more
Jones,
targets,
yeah.
So and I'm sure they'll find what they're looking for at Purdue, but they could have got it here at Iowa by staying put because look what's happened with that wide receiver room, and, and they're part of the issue too because they both left it. 2 former starters.
But let's be honest. I mean, the offense this week's going to be pretty vanilla, right? I mean, typical Kirk. They're going to run the ball. It's going to be a lot of tight ends. They're not going to show anything. I mean, even if we do have this new, newfangled offense under Brian, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of zone read, a lot of, tight end outs and those types of things this week. Kirk never tips his hand too much ahead of the conference play. So I'm going to be pretty vanilla.
I think the extent of the innovation is we might go on 3 instead of 2. So I mean, we are who we are.
And we win.
So I mean,
from what I've heard,
we lose.
Yeah, from what I heard, the newfangled offense that was simplified is basically he goes from having a 3 or 4 read down to about 2. So he's gonna get his ball out quicker. He's gonna find his first or second target real quick and get the ball out. And if he can get the ball out quicker, that's all he really needs to do. Or we need the offensive line to hold back some rushers for about 2 more seconds if we can do that.
Well, as long as one of those reads isn't a receiver 3 yards down the field when we need 6.
Right.
I think
Greg Davis is gone. Greg Davis is gone. We don't do that anymore.
Right.
Oh, I know. I noticed that we still do that once in a while. Probably. 3rd and 9, and we throw the ball to the 5 yard. We throw it out 5 yards. I go, what? And Brian Ferentz, I've heard several interviews with him, and he's really a good interview. If you guys ever listen to some extended interviews with him, but he says that he just wants to get the ball to the playmakers and let them make plays. So he's not overly concerned if he needs 9 yards, but they only catch the ball at the 5 yard lines because he's going to let them get the other 4 yards that they need.
Well,
that makes sense.
And if he catches it in stride, but that's one thing. But if he catches it and has to reach back and stop, and I mean that's a whole different set of circumstances. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that there's enough wrinkles. Maybe they move the pocket a little bit. And get him out into space, and so he does have fewer reads because I do think that seems like one of the challenges that Petrus has. But accuracy has been a problem, and I don't know how I mean, he went to a couple camps over the summer. Hopefully, they've mechanically helped him out in the accuracy department. But if you're not accurate, I mean, I don't care who you're reading. If you're throwing it 10 feet over somebody's head, big deal.
I agree, and I do think, to your point earlier, Dean, I think line play is going to be a lot better this year. I mean, we're still very, very young, and I just look at the 2 deeps here. We're starting 4 sophomores, which obviously bodes well for the future. I think Jack Plum's the only senior, and it sounds like Mason Richmond's going to play. So, I mean, I think the line play this year, a lot of those kids played as true freshmen. So, I think the improved line play, I think with just a little bit of a revamped offense. I mean, I think Petrus will be okay. I mean, he just has to manage the game. That's all he's got to do in an Iowa offense. And I do think he's a good game manager. And this is his 5th year in the program. I mean, so I think we'll be okay.
He'll get us in the right plays. And I love Tyler Goodson. I thought he was awesome. But he's the type of running back that he'd bust off a long one. but he'd also lose 4 on the next play. I don't see either Williams doing that, particularly Gavin. I think they're a little more north and south, and they're gonna pound the line, and so that'll probably help the line out a little bit. But they're playing against a pretty good defense this week, so we'll see. I mean,
guys, I wish I was comfortable about this game. I wish we were playing Nevada this week so we could work out the kinks, but unfortunately, we're not. Or even Iowa State at this point would probably be. I don't know. I think out of the 3 non-conference games, this is our toughest game. If we can get by this, I'll feel better about Iowa State. But we'll talk about that next week after we see what happens this week.
You remember there was a Dakota team came down here in 16, and that was a bad day. It was a
very bad day. I was in the stands, and I kept praying that field goal would miss. Please miss that field goal. The whole stadium goes quiet. I was there. No, he hits it. Of course, then you hear all the cheers from the North Dakota State fans in the stands. One whole group was right next to me. It's like I had to put up with them the entire game because we weren't doing what we were supposed to. And 2016 was supposed to be another banner year, just like 2015, and we got off on a bad start. And I don't know what we did the rest of the year.
Well, so there's some parallels between this game and that game, right? Not beyond just the Dakota version. This was the 1 year past a Big Ten West championship, and we went and got beat in the championship. So in 15, we got beat by Michigan State. We had a returning quarterback that we thought, okay, rock solid guy, knows the offense. I mean, CJ Beathard was the quarterback that started that game. Obviously playing a Dakota school. One of the differences, of course, is that was our 3rd game, not our first game. And in our first 2 games that year, if you remember, we pounded Iowa State. We pounded Miami of Ohio. We probably were looking a little past the FCS school, or as I call it, Division I AA. We're probably looking a little bit past them. And they came out and just kind of handed us our heads. I mean, they rushed in that game for 239 yards compared to our 34 yards. They threw for 124 compared to our 197. And so you can't say that was a fluke, and it certainly wasn't. Now, frankly, I think it's athletic director malpractice to be scheduling either North Dakota State or South Dakota State. Yeah. I mean, there's no upside to it. There's a lot of downside to it. You're playing 2 really good teams. This coach at South Dakota State is actually he was hired in 1997, so he's actually got a longer tenure than Kirk at his school, and he's been to the playoffs something like 10, 11 years in a row. They coming off a national championship appearance, so they're not to be messed with at all.
No,
and if you look at their roster, there's a lot of players in Iowa's recruiting territory that probably didn't get an offer from Iowa. So guess what? They're gonna be a little chippy.
I think Corey brought on his show today said there were 12 in the 2 deeps. From Iowa. Yeah. So he figured that was gonna be a little chippy for them. Those guys are coming in. They believe they can win this game. I've read the articles. They're not coming in for a paycheck. They're not coming in and say we're going to give them a good game. Iowa's a good team. They're just saying Iowa's a good team, but we can win them. We can beat them.
Yeah. So they're ranked number 3 in the FCS, and this is an interesting little tidbit. The Missouri Valley last year played 2 seasons, so they played 21 games last year, and they had a quarterback. Their quarterback that's going to be starting now as a true freshman was stellar. I think he was all conference. Maybe like finalist for player of the year.
Player conference, yeah.
Then he got hurt, and then so he's back. But they got their quarterback back. They've got 21 games last year under their belt to kind of work that. So I agree. I mean, I think the spread's 15 is what Terry just posted here, and I think that's about that. That's what I saw earlier. So.
And their best defensive players, their middle linebacker from Solon. Think maybe he's intimidated by playing Iowa City. I doubt it. I think he's been looking forward to this since they scheduled it in 2018. So I mean, and they probably got, I don't know, one of the top tandems of tight ends in the country this year, any division. So,
Yeah.
I think our guys are probably, at or slightly top of that list, and these guys aren't far behind. And receivers, I mean, I wish we had a couple of their receivers.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Dean, real quick, I got a text from one of my friends here. He's got a question. Would you rather him call in or text it, or how would you rather they do that?
If he's on the podcast watching live,
Yeah,
there's a comment section. Just tell him to comment and write in the comment section. We'll see it and we can discuss it.
Ben's going to have to censor it for you.
Probably. Brad and I, our Hawkeye buddies up here in Omaha, we let's just say our language is colorful at times discussing Hawkeye football. So
just ask him to use the comment section. That's why I set it up the way I did. We don't have a call-in set up, and I don't know how we do that. But that's something I want to do.
I could take it from my phone if we want to do that, but we'll work through that. I'll have him. I just texted him. He'll put it on the text here or the thread.
Cool. That would be fantastic. I'm glad he's watching though.
We're famous, Dean. We're famous, baby.
Yeah. All three people.
This thing goes
all three people watching.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of them.
Yeah. We'll get more later after I load this back onto Facebook and get people to come and watch it later. But they'll be getting something to chew on.
Brad's devilishly handsome looks are going to help with
right. Face for radio is how I describe it. Yeah. My mom
guys,
likes me.
I should be living in Omaha with you guys. You guys sound like a barrel of monkeys having fun.
Or something.
Well, when it's about 100 degrees below zero, Dean, you have to figure out a way to identify some people that you can sit and drink a beer and have some pizza and talk football with.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I don't know if I should say this or not, but you guys are both lawyers, right?
That's true.
Well, Ben's a good lawyer. I'm not.
Have you guys done a lot of cases together or gone in trial together or anything like that?
No.
Or you work separate?
Brad has got a law degree, but he manages some doctors. Brad, you go ahead. But he didn't practice.
Oh, you don't practice law?
He was smart. He got a real job and makes real money, and the rest of us don't. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I always tell my family members that call me when they're in trouble. I say, I don't do that kind of law. So.
Okay. So let's is there anything else on the two deeps you want to like Drew Stevens not being the kicker when all directions were pointed like he was going to be our place kicker?
Not on that topic, but we do have a cornerback that's out this week. Harris is out he's serving a suspension for his DUI, which I was doing a little bit of reading this week and I found something interesting. Stiegelmeier is the coach at South Dakota State, and back in 2018 he got a DUI, which I'm not judging him. I think that can happen. The interesting thing is we got a guy sitting out because he's suspended. It's a public sort of penalty. Stiegelmeier, I was reading the story. Two things that I thought were kind of interesting. First of all, he admitted to drinking juice, like JOOSE. Have you guys ever heard of that?
No,
it's like some malt liquor. Well, no, it's like some malt liquor thing with like 10% alcohol by volume or something like that. It sounds delicious. Anyway,
old English.
Yeah. So, but the more interesting thing is, he got suspended. Well, when they decided what his punishment was, he said, "Well, I'm not going to make it public, and I'm going to decide what my punishment is. And we don't make our players' punishment public, and so I'm not going to make this one public. But I promise you, it's going to be significant." Now that's when you've been around since 1997, you can make those kinds of rules with your AD, and that's some real leadership. Actually, I think Stiegelmeier is, by all accounts, a great guy and a great coach and a great leader. So I feel bad bringing that up, but I just thought that was a little ironic, given that we're going to have a cornerback out this game for essentially the same reason.
Right. I'm not opposed to him serving the 1 game suspension. He's legal age if I understand right, but you still don't go and get drunk and get in a car and drive, or whatever he was driving. sometimes they're just driving the motor scooters around town. But there's plenty of people around town. You call and say, "Hey, Coach, can somebody come get me? I need it." Or call an Uber. You don't want Coach to know you got. I'm sure Coach doesn't care you got drunk. He just cares that you got in the car and drove illegally.
Yep. Yeah. That's bad. I mean, it's bad. It doesn't. You shouldn't have to serve a full year, but you got to pay a price. So.
Right. And but I'll. I was just gonna.
I just got a lighter topic as to the two deeps. Cooper DeJean, I see is he's number 2 everywhere. Number 1, I would think he would start. I mean, Justin Jacobs is a good player, but I would like to think that Cooper DeJean, is going to get some time at Cash. Number 1, number 2, I would hope that he's going to be the starting return guy. But I've heard it's either him, Arlen Bruce, or who was the other one I heard? Riley Moss, which I don't like the idea of hanging our All-American D-back out there to return kicks. I mean, Desmond did it, obviously, but
didn't Josh Jackson do it too? Wasn't he a return guy too?
He did, yeah. But I think Cooper DeJean should get a shot, honestly. So,
well, I'm also excited to see Xavier Juanpa, see if he gets it. I mean, eventually he's going to be in the 2 deeps, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
he's not.
He's going to.
I think Kirk's. Yeah, got a little. He'll be slow to put him in. Like, he's going to put him in the first week in the 2 deep. He'll probably play some on special teams though.
I'm expecting him to play on special teams. I'm sure he will. And there's another name escapes me that didn't make the 2 deeps. And JT Hall. I'm sure I've heard good things about him. I'm sure that we'll see him on special teams, and I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys come out a play or 2 in the regular rotation.
Well, Brad, to your opening point, who was the kid? Who was the reporter today mentioned that about the 2 deeps, and Kirk says, he's not on him, and then he goes, yeah, he is. And who was that kid? Was that lineman?
Oh, yeah, it was an offensive lineman. Doggone it, and he's not. Crap! I won't think of it. And by the way, he forgot who the captains were too.
I think that's the point of
that's what the joke was about at the top of the hour, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of Kirk, though. Like, I don't think he gives a shit. He's ready to play, next man in, ready to go. And so, he's got to put those 2 men out because that's although Steve Sarkisian apparently isn't doing it down in Texas. I don't know if you guys saw that, but in any event, Kirk does his duty. He puts it out there, and I don't think he cares. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some guy that's quote unquote 4-string, getting more reps.
Yeah.
Well, he did say, he said, they said, no, he's not on there. And he looked and said, well, then put him on there. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
You've been around like 20 some years. You can amend your 2 deep sheet during the press conference. I mean,
Yeah. You don't even have to follow it because there's no law that says you got to follow it. This is just to this just gets people happy. Like one of the things I was really looking forward to on these 2 deeps. I mean, there's a couple surprises. I wanted to see who the return specialists were going to be. Nah, we ain't going to tell you until game time.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So, if as your friend posted a comment yet, can you guys see the comments?
All I'm seeing right now, Dean, is the Terry Cincy advertisement here.
Okay. Well, I got. Oh, here it is. Is his name?
Question set.
Georgia.
Georgia, yep.
Okay, I'm going to put his comment up on the board here.
Okay.
All right. First time messenger, long time Hawk fans. If you have talked about the North Dakota game in the years past, which was my concern, what position is key other than quarterback Saturday? Well, go ahead, guys. I'm going to give you the shot. This is your friend.
So I'll start that. I mean, if we're talking about on the Iowa side of the ball, I think we got to run the ball. I think both Williamses are healthy, hopefully, both Gavin and LaShawn. And I think, once again, it's going to be a vanilla game plan, I think, by Kirk and Brian. I think we're going to run the ball. We're not going to show much. We're going to go off tackle. We're going to go zone read. Might sprinkle in a little tight end work. But I guess the running backs, I think, combined with the young offensive line without Tyler Lindenbaum this year, of course, we're lost our All-American, all-world center. And we got a lot of young lines there. So I would say the combination of the young offensive line with the young sophomore running backs will be the key. Brad?
Yeah. I agree that'll be one of them. The other one that either is right ahead or right with that anyway would be the performance of the front four on the defense. If we, I mean, look, hey, if they come out and do what North Dakota State did and rush for 239 yards against us, it's going to be a long day, and we're going to be pretty upset at the end of the day. Might eke out a win, but it'll be ugly. If we can make them one dimensional, this team likes to be a balanced offense. Got a good quarterback now. He's entering his sophomore year after sitting out a while, so he might be a little rusty. If we make him one-dimensional, even with their really good receivers, I like our odds. But that front four, if they give up the rush, I think we're going to be asking for trouble. And I like our front four. I think that's a strength of this team, and so probably plays well. The left side of their offensive line is experienced and pretty good. The right side, not so much. So, my guess is they'll move the pocket a little bit. But if our guys if we can get pressure on with just rushing four, we'll be okay. In that North Dakota State game, the quarterback for that team was a guy by the name of Easton Stick.
Yeah.
An Omaha native, Creighton Prep guy.
Baseball player. Good baseball player.
Yeah. He's playing. He's in the NFL. He's 49-3 as a starter in college football. Holds the Division I record for most wins. So that team. This is not North Dakota State 2016. This is a good team. That was an exceptional team.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Brad, too. I agree with you that the defensive line is going to be huge. But if they get past that with those tight ends,
Yeah.
I like our linebackers, man. I mean, obviously, our linebacker, that's got to be pretty close, with the exception maybe when we had Kirksey and who was here with Kirksey that year?
Well, the middle linebacker was the kid from Solon.
Greenway. No, that was back in the day. Yeah. Anyhow, the point is that we those linebackers are good. So I mean, I don't think, and then you get to the secondary, of course, which is Phil Parker, drawn up. So
yeah. Well, the interesting thing about the linebackers, so all three are Butkus candidates, right?
Yeah.
Seth Benson was a commit to South Dakota State until Iowa swooped in at the 11th hour and picked him off. So there's probably a little bit of a,
how many kids like that have we gotten? Desmond King was that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We had a lot of guys flip on signing day to Iowa, but we
Bobby
also
Sanders.
lost a couple.
Yeah.
We also lost a few on signing day.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. As long as we're on the game, I want you guys to give me your game day prediction. Give me your score, your winner, and maybe a couple of things that you are hoping that might happen or you think will happen in the game, like who scores how many touchdowns, or does Petrus get 200 yards, stuff like that. Saturday. So I'll start. I think this is going to be a lot closer game than people think. So I've got like 24-21 Iowa. Petrus does not get 200 yards. We're going to run the ball more than we throw it, and I think our running will be hitting the holes, and I think all four running backs will see some time. Okay. Go for it. Who's next?
Go ahead, Ben.
So I don't, Dean. I think we run the ball a lot. I think we get 250, close to 300 yards rushing. Honestly, I think this is a chance for LaShawn and Gavin to shine. And again, I think that new offensive line has got something to prove. Last year, arguably they were the biggest weakness on this team, and I think they're ready to go. I think Mason Richmond's going to be a very, very good player. I think he's the next in line of the left tackles of the Iowa pedigree, if you will.
Too bad we don't have David Koff. He'd added some beef up there for that. Anyway, go ahead.
But I mean, I just think, especially with our receiver situation, with Keegan questionable, with Nico out, with those guys gone, I think we're going to run the ball. And again, once again, we're not going to show a lot. I mean, Kirk never does in the non-con. I mean, it never happens. I mean, so we're going to run the ball, and I think Gavin, LaShawn combine for a lot of yards. I would just what I really want to see is how the offensive line plays. Like that's my key to the game, so to speak. And I want to see what they look like as a unit. Those are all good players, but as a cohesive unit, what do we look like? And so if I had to put a score on it, Dean, I will respectfully disagree. I think it's going to be. I think the score is going to be more indicative, maybe, of the. I don't think the score will be indicative, maybe, of the play on the field. So I think it's going to be probably a 32. I'm going to go 32-12, but I think we dominate more than that score is indicative of. If that makes sense, I think we handle that game handily, honestly. So
okay.
I think offensively, just as Ben said, we're going to try to run the ball, and we're not going to vary. We're going to keep on doing it until we can't. So we're gonna grind out. I think we'll be a plus 200 yards, 200 yards plus rushing the ball. Combination of the two Williams. I think defensively, I think we'll give up some yards early, some underneath passes. We'll play base defense, let them catch some short passes. They might catch us in 1 and 2, one or two over the course of the game. But I think we'll make them one dimensional. I think we'll make them pass only. And at that point, they may score early. They may get 10 points in the first quarter, but they end up with 13 and we score 27. So 27-13, and it just looks fairly pedestrian, typical Kirk early season game. He'll come out of there saying we got to get it in rhythm and clean some things up, and we'll get ready for Iowa State and just be double thankful for having a win against one of the, frankly, won't be the worst team we play, and could probably beat 4 or 5 teams in the Big Ten.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I want to answer this question about where's David. And I'm thinking the person who asked it doesn't really care, because I think I know who this is. And if it's who I think it is, it would be. Well, I'm not going to say her name out. I'm not going to do this, but she asked, and I think other people are kind of curious.
She likes David.
Well, she heard me mention it, and then it came up on the comments immediately. I'm assuming it's a she. I'm assuming that I know who this is. Okay. Give me a sign if you are who you are, who I think you are. Anyway,
sounds like David Green.
Yeah, David Koff was mentioned real briefly. They were talking about people out for the season, and Kirk mentioned real quick, without kind of just sidestepped it real quick. And he said, he's out for the season. He won't play this year. And so that's where it's at with David Koff. He's not going to play this year, whatever reasons, whether it's injury or suspension or he quit on the Iowa team. We don't know. There are so many rumors flying out there, but nobody seems to know. And I think we'll find out. We'll find out at the end of the year if he hits the transfer portal as soon as the season's over.
Well, he's just a redshirt freshman. Why would he be leaving? There's got to be
he was one of the guys in the running to be center, and of course, Logan Jones, a local kid from Council Bluffs, Lewis Central, is the guy that's going to follow in the footsteps of our last year's center, who by the way, that kid's going to be good. I'm just telling you, watch him on Saturday. He's going to blow people off the ball. I'm not saying he's Tyler, but he's going to be good over the course of his career. And I don't know if it had something to do with that, of depth chart issues, or there's an injury and he's trying to figure it out or not. But
the kid's 6'6", though. I'm looking at 24/7 Sports here. He's 6'6", 295. That's pretty tall for a center.
That'd be a big center, yeah. I think he was one, and then Myslinski is, I think, second on the depth chart. So I don't know if it's depth chart related, or if it's really an injury, or maybe he's struggling with some other things. And you got to remember, these are 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that have lives too. So
there have been other people who have had, that we've come in with that kind of talent, because this guy, he came in and he would definitely be NFL talent, and I believe he'll
Yeah.
get there, but he's just not going to do it from Iowa. In my humble opinion, I think he jumps into the transfer portal at the end of the year, like so many other Iowa people who mysteriously not playing for the year, and there's nothing said about what's going on with them, and all of a sudden they're in the transfer portal. So I think they have some kind of an agreement that he can keep the scholarship this year, because really you don't want to get in the transfer portal right now anyway, because nobody's going to take you this time of year and you're not going to play anyway. So you might as well stay on the Iowa team, take your scholarship, and go to class, and they'll let you go at the end of the year, so you can have a decent shot at a decent team.
So Jason, you see this here, Dean. Jason says he thinks the defense rolls. Jason is my cousin. He's on this little Hawkeye group chat with Brad and I, so very knowledgeable in football. And and I will echo his sentiments. I think the defense carries us all year.
Yeah. Yeah, I got somebody else. I'm going to put the next comment up here. Somebody else said the same thing. I got to get to it.
While you do that, Dean, one of the I listened to the weekly show of Coach Stiegelmeier for South Dakota State, and it was interesting. He was talking about, and it kind of goes back to the injury thing. He was telling the story about what he calls a postulate in his program, which is, in geography, apparently. I mean, I was told there'd be no math on this program, but he has what's called the Noabushi postulate, which means it's a given in his program. Like, you don't argue it. And this Noabushi early on in his tenure got hurt and came to the coach after he got better and said, "Coach, I'm leaving and I'm going to graduate. I'm going to move on." And he said, "Well, why would you leave? You got another year of eligibility." He said, "I didn't think anybody cared about me." So his one of the philosophies in his program is, if a kid gets hurt in my program, they need us worse than we need them. And so we owe it to them to be there for them. And you got to hand it to a coach that says that. And, that probably isn't a coincidence that he's been there for, 20 some odd years with that kind of an attitude toward his kids. So yeah, there are good people in this business.
I just wanted to show you that she gave me a sign. Yes, it's who I thought it was.
So who is I Love Animals? Who is that?
That would be my oldest granddaughter.
Oh, nice.
It's nice that she's watching. If they don't do anything Saturday, her dad's going to come over and watch the game with me.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put this one up next. I like this guy. Oh. Okay, so that's Terry's comment. I was trying to get Jason's comment up there, but that's fine. I'm kind of like enjoying this. I mean, this is the first time I've played with this system, so I'm kind of enjoying putting the banner up for Terry Cincy's or Cincy's by Terry. I need to be corrected on that one. She corrected me midstream in here, and so but I'm liking the system because I'm almost a producer because I'm putting these comments up. Are you guys seeing the comments roll on your side too?
Yeah, you're doing great, Dean.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know. I mean, if you guys see a comment come up and you want to highlight it, go ahead.
I can only see one comment at a time, though. Is that how that's supposed to be?
No, I'm seeing them all. They're coming up one right after the other.
You're the moderator. That's why.
You're scroll.
You're the king. You're the king. You can put them up as they need be.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All righty. This is the one I tried to get up earlier. But Terry talks about she doesn't understand why we can't recruit LP awesome offense. You guys understand that question?
No, not particularly.
Terry, LP. Could you rephrase that question or statement?
Terry. Makes no sense.
It's because we don't know what it is. That's why we can't recruit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm having a little bit fun with this, with people interacting. I mean, we've got a whole 5 people watching now. So
we're big time, Dean. We're big time.
We're big time. Love it. Okay. I want to get down to, we've done our predictions and stuff, and I kind of want to just start moving toward the end of this show because we're coming up on almost an hour. And I would like to just you guys give me some bold predictions you think it's going to happen this season. So something out, just something crazy that we don't think about. In one previous show I did with the other two, I said that I thought Brody Breck would be the breakout star this year more than people think he will be. But I don't know if that's going to happen now because I don't know how much of a role he's going to play when he's not in the two deeps. And Kirk Ferentz says in his press conference, yeah, he's also available if we need him. That sounds like, yeah, he's available, but are you going to use him? How much are you going to use him?
So I'll start that question. If we're referring to the Hawks,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think Luke Lachey has a bigger year than Laporta. Simply because, not because of talent wise. I mean, I think Lachey's the next guy. Kittle, Hawkinson, Fant, all those guys. Laporta's obviously next in the, in line, but I think he's going to get double teamed in part because of our receiver issues, which has been better in the past. And so I think Luke Lachey otherwise comes out, and if Iowa, I don't know how many times last year when we used that 2 tight end set, we succeed with that 2 tight end set. And I think it's just a matter of time till Luke Lachey bursts on the scene and is the breakout star for Iowa this year. So that's my prediction there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I kind of like that. It's kind of the year that we had Hawkinson and Fant their last years before they went to the NFL. Is Hawkinson early on was the breakout star. He was getting all the balls because Fant was being double covered and couldn't break through.
Right.
Then they started targeting Fant less and less once Hawkinson, became a little bit of a breakout star that year. And but they knew what they had because Hawkinson showed some flashes the year before. So interesting. I would agree with you on Lachey there.
And I'll do a second one. If Cooper DeJean gets a chance to be the return guy, I'll give him even odds to be return specialist of the year, taking Charlie Jones's spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree on that one. Cooper will make us sit around and say that Steve Jones that we had last year returning punts sure was good, wasn't he? We'll forget Charlie Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he was good. That's not a slam on him, but
no, he was the return specialist of the year.
yeah, no, he was outstanding, and you got to be fearless, and that's a special type of player.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of liked him because I mean we had a lot of guys in the past who weren't afraid to catch the ball, but it was always I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to fair catch it because I don't want to run with it. He would take it with traffic coming on him. He would take that ball, and just go with it. He was fearless. He was going to catch that ball with these guys running on him. And the nice thing about it is sometimes when these guys are running at you and you catch the ball, you got a little bit of a hole to take off, and these guys got momentum that they can't stop, that they may outrun past you if you can get going. And sometimes I just wonder on those return specialists why I don't see more of that. We stay here, wait, I got to have a hole before I go. Where's the hole? Charlie, what I liked about him is he caught the ball. Sometimes he caught it in traffic and just took off. And I think that's the easiest way to get your pick sixes, not your pick sixes, but your returns, when you kick off and punt return 6 points, because sometimes that's how they get started. Because, if you can make them miss right at the beginning, usually you got a hole to go the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I alluded to my bold prediction, Logan Jones at center. I think he's going to be phenomenal, and I think he's going to have a great year. But the other one I'll throw in there, it's not on the depth chart yet, is Xavier Juanpa. I think he's good. I mean, it's special talent, special recruit. By all accounts, has the right sort of mentality coming in as a freshman. So he'll at the end of the year he'll kind of be reminiscent of our receivers as late in their year as a freshman. Just on highlight reel type stuff.
On special teams or a D-back?
I think he'll crack the D-back list before the year's up, and unfortunately that'll mean some pain because some people will get burned, and he'll be in there by necessity. Think Purdue game, but I think it's going to be. I think he'll be at the end of the year. He'll be a mainstay in the starting lineup.
Okay. He's obviously going to be a cornerback long term, but do you think maybe Kirk breaks him in at the safety rotation?
Maybe, yeah. That's what I think. Not necessarily out on an island, although I'm not convinced our Riley Moss is solid. I'm not convinced of the other two just yet. We'll see, but Phil Parker coaches him up, so he'll have good ones.
Yeah. Guys, I want to point out this guy that comes up as Hackwell Family. That's Jason. He's my co-host and one of my co-hosts on the other podcast that we do. And he just had a comment there. He just commented here.
Yeah.
If you guys can if you guys can see that, could you read it for the audience?
Just wanted to say you have to run the ball on 3rd and long sometimes. Every offense does it, period. You have to keep the defense thinking, period. Second, the plays are designed to go past the first down, end quote. So that's exactly correct.
Okay, I'm trying to get this other one. Here we go.
Jason from Blair, before he says Scott Frost keeps his job. He disagrees with us, Brad. Jason from Blair, that guy, he doesn't know what he's talking.
Yeah, that guy's not seeing it. I can't even imagine that happening.
I agree.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I saw that and we got so talking. I forgot all about that. What's his name? Whose name was Jason?
Jason from Blair, that guy. He don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
No.
Is he a Nebraska fan?
No, he's an Iowa fan.
Well, I mean, maybe it's wishful thinking for Iowa fans. I mean, gosh,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think
guys, do we really want Frost to go?
No,
really? No. We want him to stay.
Don't bring in Fickle.
Yeah.
Let's not get somebody who actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was leading the charge to keep Riley there, and I didn't realize this would be even better. So I think we should raise some money for that.
I agree.
Yeah, I can't believe a school got rid of 2 coaches with 9-3 average win totals, and because they think national championship. They don't think 9-3 is a good win, and they even won the West one year, and they still lost his job.
So Dean, this stat's floating around. I know Brad's seen it in Nebraska. Is that Frost right now is sitting at 15-30. Pelini got canned at 67-27. So Scott Frost would have to win his next 50 consecutive games to have still a worse record than Pelini.
Yeah.
I also read an article here not too long ago that Nebraska was number 2, and I don't remember the time period, but I think it was like over a 10-year period as of like 2018. So from 2008 to 2018, they paid more for football coaches in that time period than anybody other than I think the University of Florida.
They had 4 on payroll at one time.
Yeah. Makes Kirk seem like a bargain.
Yeah, exactly. Remember everyone was bitching about his $4 million salary and how he was overpaid? That's potatoes now, man. That's potatoes. So,
yeah. Okay. I don't know how we got sidetracked. Thanks to your buddy there.
Goddamn Jason and Blair.
Okay, guys. Anything else you guys want to say? We should probably kind of wrap this up because, although we got 7 viewers now, maybe if we keep going, we can get up to. Oh no, we lost one. As soon as I said wrap it up, they got off the.
I feel if we keep going to about 2 a.m., Dean, we're going to have like 12 or 13. So we should.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, if I have 3 more beers, things will start making sense too. So
yeah, I got an idea for the next time I do this. Is I got to keep the Facebook and this page up at the same time so I don't lose them. So I can just minimize one and go to Facebook and get my links on there, and then minimize it and come back to this one because I thought I was going to lose it when I tried to go back to Facebook and.
Well, and I think we should have Ben dress up as Little Bo Peep too, and that might bring yet a different type of audience to the table.
That's true. I mean, we're already going to get the female audience because of Brad's devilishly handsome looks.
So all right.
If I dress as Little Bo Peep, that might bring a different audience.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put Terry right here. I'm going to put Terry's up on the screen one more time before we leave, and just to remind people that she is sponsoring the program, and if you go and check out some of the cool stuff she has, you can get stuff other than warmers. You can get some laundry detergent, I heard, and some laundry, something else. I think I shouldn't be saying that because I haven't checked all of her products out, and I am embarrassed to say that.
My
Paul's
wife's
the one.
a huge fan of her stuff.
Really? Cool.
Yeah,
That's good.
And,
That's
and
good to hear.
notwithstanding her poor taste in husbands, she actually has really good taste. So
She's a cheese specialist at Hy-Vee.
no,
Who's a cheese specialist at Hy-Vee? We don't talk Hy-Vee. I'm sorry.
Inside joke, Dean. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I have to tell you, I used to manage a grocery store in Iowa before I retired 4 years ago, and Hy-Vee was my competitor.
oh well,
yeah.
You know,
Suzanne wouldn't have worked for you.
yeah.
No, that's just right. All right, Dean. Hey, so I've got one more thing before we go here.
Okay.
If any of you sports bettors out there, I'm not, but I've got a degenerate buddy who is. But hypothetically speaking, if you were, my lock of the week, Notre Dame, 17, getting 17 and a half in the horseshoe. That's ridiculous.
They are?
17 and a half.
They're getting 17 and a half points.
Yep.
Geez, even I might bet on that one. Oh, I can't. I'm in California. I'm not allowed to bet.
Well, you can do it online, but I mean, I don't know what I don't. I mean, I think
I actually tried to go online the other day and register with a betting site, and it said because I lived in California that I couldn't do it.
Well, Dean, we have ways around that. You can get a hold of me if you like.
Okay.
But in any event, I don't. CJ Stroud's a good player, whatever. But 17 and a half, like Notre Dame's not. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
That is crazy. That's almost easy money.
yeah.
And if I'm not missing my bet, Jason's going to take that easy money too.
Yeah.
Hang on for a second. I'm going to go back to the comments to see if Jason's going to do that. See if he said something. Okay. Go back to the comments. I got to be a little quicker on this, guys.
You're doing great, Dean.
Jason says the lock of the week is West Virginia.
Who they got?
I don't know. I have no idea. He didn't elaborate. Okay. Why don't we call it good? This was fun, guys. This was really fun, informative. We had a good time and had a lot of nice feedback. And my granddaughter joined us for a short period. And so, yeah, this was fun, guys.
Well,
What do you think, Dean? Dean, what do you think? Should we have Brad back or not? Do you think did he pass the test?
Brad passed the test.
Okay, good. I was
worried. I passed the test.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you guys later about working out something else. I'm not sure about Sunday night working out for me that much anyway.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. All right, guys.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Bye.
Go Hawks.